since investing money and energy into myself, everything else around has become better.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed this afternoon for another cracking episode. This one's another group podcast because the last one we did went pretty well. So got a couple of great builders here this afternoon. We got Eric from VL Constructions. He's a local Brisbane guy. We've got Nathan from Newfound Building Solutions that's come up from Sydney. And our good mate Brett, I think he's back for about his bloody fourth or fifth podcast.
Yeah,
can't get him out of here. How are you guys?
Yeah, good mate. Thanks for having me.
Good.
So let's just have a bit of a... Well, we're going to chat about all things building, I guess, building industry and stuff. So let's kick it off by, I guess, what do you guys think? How do you think the year 2023's panned out? Like, things seem to be leveling out a bit. Price increases are backed off. We seem to be, I don't know about you guys, but like things seem to be able to get materials and those types of things. So how are you guys finding the year?
Yeah, I reckon it's probably been our best year yet. And I think all the struggles we went through in sort of late 22, 20 and early 23 sort of set us up to run a lot better businesses, to be across it a lot more than we had been in the past. It was a bit of a kick up the arse that I reckon a lot of us needed. Through the COVID period. So 2023 has been a good year.
Yeah, what about you, Nate?
Well, for me, 2022 was pretty bad, so couldn't have got much worse. But yeah, I think just to kind of jump on what Brett said, learning through all of the challenges and struggles through COVID definitely made us stronger. And then, like materials being able to be more readily available has been something that's been a lot better for us this year. So all in all, like so far, this year's been really good for us.
Yeah, awesome. About you, mate?
Yeah, same with us. Same as what Brett and Nath were saying. We're looking next year and this year it's going to be our biggest year in a long time and most profitable year probably. Our inquiries are not slowing at the moment, so it's been really good. Got good subbies now and everything, so which is really good. So
it is. Sometimes you got to go through some hard times, haven't you, to know or appreciate and point you in the right direction, Get you to.
Yeah, I feel like through COVID, it's not gonna. I don't think it can get more challenging than what we went through. Well, how can it get more? How can it get worse? Even with the rain that we had last year, like I don't know about up here, but the rain we had in 22 it felt like it rained every day the whole year.
Yeah, and it does make you like for me anyway. I think every time you have a little bit of a stressful period, if you can look back on those harder times and think, fuck, like we've actually done really well.
Yep. Yeah, I think it makes us a little bit more. It's just more resilient, isn't it? Once we're used to operate in them real tough times where we all got through it. Luckily, us lot here. There's some that weren't as lucky, but yeah, I think if you could put the work in them real tough times, definitely you appreciate the times when things are starting to come back to a bit of normality.
Yeah, I think it helps too. Those times grow your systems and processes behind the scenes, and that sort of helped us. Like that's what's making our life a lot easier now because we've got all that stuff in place. So I think that's having that time just to go, well, no, I need to fix all this back end stuff was a game changer for us.
Yeah, I think the ones that knuckled down and owned it and took control of their business are going to see massive growth this in the next couple of years. The ones that sort of sat around pointing fingers like this sort of old school mentality, they're the ones that are going to find it really hard and probably not have the fruits of the labour that we've put in already.
I think that's an important point because I'm in the mindset now, like it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, if you watch the news and read the papers, like there is always shit going on. So like the building industry is going to continue to have ups and downs and fucking bad times and whatever for as long as it exists. So if you just run your own race.
Listening to the news.
That's a good
I'll
start.
stop listening to the news. It's just, for me, it's just negativity that I don't need. And it's helped with my mindset because it's just, you hear building permits have decreased by 50%. Everyone's, shit, the building industry is going to collapse. But they were so inflated for that 2 year period before that they've just gone back down to normal.
Yeah.
So
it's really hard to know what they're reporting on too. They're reporting on the big end of town, the volume builders where they see so much. Like we've never had more inquiry than we've having at the moment, ever.
Yeah, we're the same. We are, our inquiries are flat out. Everyone thought it was going to calm down. And I think it's just, as Brett said, it's gotten rid of all the people that didn't have their businesses set up properly and didn't have their systems in place. So they've gone out the door.
Probably highlights what you talk about a bit. The building industry needs to be two separate industries. The bigger volume guys and the custom
I agree with
renovation builders.
Yeah, 100%. It blows my mind that we're all thrown in the one basket. Like, it's just, to me, it's absolutely crazy. Like, you get to like we had Chris on here from Homes by CMA a couple of weeks ago. Like, he's turned over 92 million for the year, 300 odd homes, and like just a quality business, but very, very different. Like I said to him, you're a custom builder on steroids. Like, we're so different, and I think that would really help solve a lot of the issues that all of us smaller custom builders have if they did separate it, especially when it comes to the cost of building, because it's chalk and cheese. Like, you literally, like Nath, we were talking about before, like, it's literally like the project volume builders are like the Hilux, the custom builders are like the Bentley. Like, it's so different, it's not funny. Like, the supervision, the level of supervision, the level of quality, the materials that get used, like, it's chalk and cheese.
I think it'd really help with client expectation if it was separated, because it's such a blurred line what people think they're going to get just from seeing a lot of these project homes that are built on scale, but then they want to customise it, build how they want it, and it's just two completely different industries.
Yeah. Eric, what do you think the number one thing is? Like, you touched on before, like your systems and processes and things. Like, why do you? Well, you might not want to answer this question, but like, why do you have any idea why, or a thought or opinion why lots of volume builders are falling over?
Yeah, probably because they don't have the systems and processes in place, probably, and they're not supervising their jobs a lot of times, and they just leave their subbies just to keep going on site without any supervision. And the quality, I think, of this, like, the subbies just get away with a lot more stuff with their guys.
It's really based on volume, isn't it? Not quality or profitability.
Yeah, like, you go and have a look at some of those homes, and it's just like, this stuff just wouldn't even pass. Like, and we've done renos on some of these jobs, and none of it meets code. So I think a lot of that is just, and speed too. The guy, and they're not getting paid enough.
Yeah,
is the other thing, the subbies. So they're stuffed with these small meterage rates and stuff like that, which doesn't work when you put them to a price like that, such a tight price. They can't live off that. So
they screw everyone down. So all the subbies just try and do it as quick as they can because they're not getting paid for it. So then the quality goes out the door.
Yeah.
I think a big thing with them, they work on such fine margins. When we went through that stage of how quick prices inflated and how far out they sign up contracts, that's where they've shot themselves in the foot. They've overcommitted. There's so much margin in it already. There's no time to adjust. There's no time you can't pare them jobs back any more than they already are.
Yeah.
And as you've seen with a lot of them, they had to get out of contracts, and so many have gone under.
But it just highlights, doesn't it? Like they rely on cash flow so much that they're signing contracts for homes that they might not even get a slab down for 6, 8, 12 months.
Well, we've seen a lot of slabs on the ground. I mean, especially around Brisbane, there was hundreds of slabs that just sat there poured for, especially through that government grant through COVID. A lot of the slabs hit the ground and nothing happened for 6, 9, 12 months.
Yeah.
So taking the money again.
Well, they had to make a start to get their grant, and a lot of them are marketing that, like they were advertising that they would guarantee to get you the grant and things like that. Like it's just it was not designed to be an incentive to, it was an incentive designed as an incentive to get people building, but we didn't need it. The industry didn't need it at that time.
But do you think it highlights how poor the industry is? Because like so many, like they bring out those grants. Like I sort of feel that they use our industry to prop up the economy, and so they come out with these grants, and they don't understand how our industry operates. So they bring out that grant. And it did exactly what it was meant to do. It boosted the economy, but all it did was throw businesses that weren't understanding how to run their business anyway into even worse position. Like I know so many even custom builders that were like signing contracts before plans were even drawn. Like it's
crazy, hey?
Basically given a contract based on a client wanting to build a 300 square metre home at $2,000 a square metre. Like
we had two clients get the grant successfully, but they were in design for 6 months before that even come out. Yeah. It was just lucky, good timing for them. Yeah, there was no in custom, as you know, in custom building, there's not I think we had 3, or there's a real short time frame from when they announced that to when it had to be signed. The preliminary process takes twice as long as that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you boys, was the grant the same as what it was in New South Wales?
I think it was Australia-wide.
25 grand or something, I think it was,
I think ours was more than that. I think it was 50. It went in 2 stages. There was one, and then they reduced it. I'm pretty sure it was 50, and then they reduced it to 25 after about 6 months.
I think they did do that up here as well.
Yeah, because we had people calling us, like, when can you start? I
Yeah.
haven't even looked at your plans. Like, oh, yeah, we need to get the grant. It's like, well, I haven't looked at your job.
But I know builders that jumped on that. Like I know,
God.
we had people ringing us the same thing. Like, oh, I need to get this grant. Like, or filling out an inquiry form, and like every question was blank. Like, do you have plans? No. How, like, when do you want to build? Not sure. Like, they just wanted the grant. Like, nothing was in place. Nothing was organised. And like, I know builders that ran with those people and signed them up. Like, it's just a recipe for disaster.
It really put a lot of added stress on the industry at the time. It just wasn't needed. It was really poor timing. I don't think they could have foreseen how everyone thought the industry was going to slow down over COVID, and it went berserk. People were stuck at home and spending more time in their home, knowing they're going to have to spend more time in their home wanting to renovate. Like that was when, and it's I often sort of feel quite bad about it. Our business went from strength to strength through COVID, and we lots of friends and families whose businesses in retail and stuff like that went out the window.
Yeah,
so it was,
and I do feel bad for a lot of guys down south, like especially Melbourne and that. Like like there were stories about tradies in New South Wales and Sydney. Like I know one particular story of a plasterer that I think it was the second or third lockdown. Like because like if the government locked us down, like your overheads of your business didn't stop.
It would have been a different story.
Did you guys get locked down?
No,
Not once. We had a period where we could have 5 people on site.
Yeah,
and that was only a couple of weeks. Masks. I think it was we were really lucky.
So how's this for crazy? Like before, so we live in Wollongong, which is about an hour south of Sydney. When there wasn't even a single COVID case in Wollongong, it was all in Sydney, and then obviously it filtered everywhere. I went out and I wasn't doing quotes because we were just trying to limit interaction with people. And then I come in contact with a guy that I did a quote for that was COVID positive. He was the second case in Wollongong. So I got locked down in my own house for 2 weeks. I had the police rocking up to my front door to make sure I was staying home. So this is just in this time period where it was just like, and that happened to me 3 times.
Yeah.
One of my apprentices contracted it. He was like the 5th case because he's in his apartment block in Wollongong. This lady had come down from Bankstown in Sydney and the whole unit block got locked down, and he was in one of our jobs. The clients were living in there. So I had to get these Terminator guys in there and clean the whole house while these clients were living in there. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy times, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like moving forward. It's well, we touched on it. Like you got to run your own race. Like there's always going to be ups and downs. Like you got to put time, energy, and money into your business and yourself.
The things you can control. I think that's the thing to focus on. Anything you can control.
Yeah. And one of the that's what you can do in your own time, isn't it? Like spending some time and money on improving your systems, your processes. But like, do you guys think it's more? Let's go around. Like Eric, what's more important? You working on your business or working on your personal?
Personal's number one, that's for sure. I know I've lacked in the last couple of months. We've just been that busy and stuff. But I know when I'm on top of my personal stuff, the business just flows so much better.
Yeah,
and the guys see that on site too.
So what sort of like exercise, just or journaling? Like
for me, I do journaling. I like that. But I used to do yoga. I've missed out the last term doing yoga, but I've noticed not doing yoga is sort of. I've felt that. And then the other one for me is just taking time out. Like I do woodwork and stuff like that. And that's my sort of outlet just to get away from work.
Yeah.
But I know if I don't do it, I just, even my home, like even at home, the family sees it that I'm not myself when I don't have my own time just to release.
Yeah. What about you, Nath?
Yeah, I think personal for me would definitely come first. I think it's definitely important to work on the business, and I've kind of learned that in the last 12 months that you need to be doing something. But if you're not right in yourself, and if I'm not right in myself, then my brain and my energy is not into working on the business. So for me, I need to be in the best shape mentally, and then everything else around follows from that. So I guess, that's where we're at.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, mate?
Yeah, same. Definitely personal. That's where it all starts. I'm massive on the morning routine. I think if you can start the day well, the rest of the day just flows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with that. So little routines that set your day up, like if I don't do them or if I have something that comes up, then I notice how much it affects the rest of my day. It sounds simple and stupid, but if you can set a routine and get something ticked off first thing in the morning, then the rest of your day should flow from that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's getting those couple of little hits, of wins in the morning, like just ticking 2 or 3 boxes. Yeah, well, putting a line through 3 little tasks to do, it's amazing how that sets you up for the day.
I love on
Start
the
each day with a task completed.
Yeah.
Well, I find the morning's the best time for me. That's where I get everything done. So I start early and just smash out a heap of stuff. Then I do my meaningless tasks sort of thing, like the easy stuff. So I do the harder stuff in the morning.
Yeah.
So
it's actually, this is a good one to get onto. So like the number one thing I hear like constantly just however people get in contact with me is I've just got no time. Like the amount of people that reach out and ask advice or help, or like the question's always, what's the one thing that like got you to where you are now? And like they think there's this magic answer,
pill.
but everyone says, like I'll give them a few examples, and the first thing everyone says, oh, I don't have time to do that. Like let's go around the group again. We'll start with you, Brett, this time. Like how have you managed to schedule your time to make sure you have time to do things?
I've developed a little bit of a system of my own, whereas I have 2 weeks ahead of where we are today. So I have the next 2 weeks in just a list in to-dos in the notes on my phone, and that I'll have that matched up with the calendar. So everything I do I wouldn't say every hour of the day, but all the important things go in and everything else gets worked around that. So just I have to have things in a list. I have to be able to refer back to it really quick, because I will get off task through the day, and especially like the phone will ring, you'll just lose your train of thought. I naturally just go straight back to the list, and it brings me back to where I need to be.
Yeah.
And just knock through that list. Any meetings that involve other people, or that like a site meeting or a subby meeting, that goes in the Outlook calendar, but that I always double them up with my list on my phone.
How did you get started? Like, because I was
probably one of those people that asked you how you done it with the scheduling and how you fit so much into your day. I think it was that. There was a few things that happened. When we moved a little bit further away from where we work, that made a big difference, because I couldn't just run to site, or I couldn't just run out and get some gear for guys. I used to be shocking for that. I'd waste a lot of time just running around where I really didn't need to be. Just because I wasn't organised that I had to do it.
Do you reckon that's also got a bit to do with it in your mind? You think you're doing a good task of picking shit up for the boys, because in your mind you don't like doing the office work?
Yeah.
It's definitely the case for me.
No, I can't do that. I'm busy. That's a good. Yeah, definitely. I think there's a bit of an element to that. Putting off the things you don't want to do. I know when I've always got a list. I have on the whiteboard of the things that I just, they're things that are important, but they're things I just really don't really want to do. I've got to keep them in front of me all the time, because it's something that I'll find any excuse to avoid. Yeah.
It's something very similar with all tradies and builders, or a lot of people. Like, mate, we have whiteboards on site. I have them we got 2 in the office. I got my journal. I got my diary. Like, you've got to have your list. Like, what about you, Nath? What is one thing that made you get focused and get you time to do things?
There's so many, but one thing that's helped me has been journaling. Second thing has been having a solid calendar that's linked. So we use Google Calendar, and there's multiple people within our business that have Google Calendar, so we can see what's going on across everyone's day. And then lists is one thing for us. Whiteboards, we've got them everywhere downstairs in the factory for the boys to see. If we need anything, they write it up, and then I see that goes into ordering. We've got whiteboards in our office as well, and then I'll write a hit list every single day. Even if I only cross 2 things off and I've got 12 things, the next day I'll write the same list out, because if I keep going back to the old list, it doesn't get done. But if I write it down, there's something about doing it each day that I actually know what I need to do, and it gets into my head, and then that's how I get stuff done.
Yeah, but like, how did you get started? Like, in like 10 months ago when you were at rock bottom, like, what made you put an hour aside or half an hour aside to work on yourself?
I needed some structure.
I think that's
even our filing system was so all over the place. We Dad come into the business I think it was 12 months ago, and he said, "Where's your filing structure?" He's like, "This is a fucking shit show." He's like, "You got to set some sort of structure up for your jobs," and that's why he's like, "You're putting fires out." That's what he was saying, because I was running around putting fires out, and I'm like, "I can't do it, Dad. I've got to do this. I've got to go do this. I've got to go do this." And so we set up a system that has job files, and then everything gets tracked. So things go in. Emails got sent now to admin, which goes into Alex, and then she files it. So we had a system in that, and then everything else kind of flowed from that. I was able to get more time, and then I allocated time for scheduling for myself. And then everything else kind of stemmed from that. It's just like a snowball effect.
I just want to go, but one thing that I remembered really jogged me into making sure I took control of my time and valued it was when in Live Life Build, we set about doing the yearly planner and putting the things in the calendar.
Your big rocks.
Yeah, that you wanted to work things around. That minimised the time you found you had less, and then that made it, there was a sense of urgency. Like, I've got to get all this stuff done into that so that I can go on holiday, I can do golf trip, whatever it is. Well, I think that's probably the biggest thing that was like the aha moment when I got that yearly calendar on the wall, put it all on there, and I was like, doesn't leave a lot of days.
Yeah.
Such a simple task to do as well. I think I did the same thing, and it's up on the glass window of next to my computer, and I've blocked out in highlighter. I've got in highlighted different things, date night, holidays, work time, work events, whatever. Yeah. And then every time I sit there, it's just there.
It gives you that sense of urgency to not muck around, not waste any minute of your day.
And it flow like when you do. I've had so many conversations the last 3 weeks about this. Like when you start with your big rocks and you fill your holidays and then your long weekends and then your date nights or you taking the kids to school, picking them up or whatever it is. Like it could be catching up for lunch with the boys or whatever. But when it's in your calendar and you're looking at it, like I know now, like every day, and like Camille and I share a calendar, but like every morning I wake up, the first thing I do is like come downstairs and scroll through my calendar, and in my mind, my day's set. Like I know every meeting I'm going to have, the phone calls I need to make, and I know when I've got spare patches of time. So I'm just focused.
Yep.
Like you're so focused. What about you, Eric?
So the big one for me was similar. Like we just started using a calendar I never had anything scheduled. I just run between jobs all the time and started using a calendar and putting everything in, all the meetings and where I had to be, every task and stuff like that, which was good. And then did a to-do list as well, like for every day. But the other one we also use is Microsoft Planner. So every job will have a task for me to do in there and it's got due dates. So we go through that and that sort of sets me up as well because I drag stuff from that. And then every Sunday I'll go through and plan that out the week before.
Yeah.
So then I know exactly what I'm doing that week because otherwise I just get lost. I see it. I sit in the office. I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't have a direction or anything. But if it's written in the calendar, I know what I've got to do by certain times. So
yeah, I'm bad for what I just said to Brett before. Like I used to just think that if I was doing something, I was busy, but if it was just my way of getting out of doing something that was a bit harder or something I didn't really want to be doing. But
that takes time to learn to know what you shouldn't be doing, though. That's what I find. I'm starting to get that now where I just got to go, nah, the boys can do that. I don't need to do that. I don't need to micromanage them. They can do it. And they can do like the concrete pours and stuff like that.
It's a hard thing to let go, bud, isn't it?
So
I
hard.
think everyone that's even been on this podcast that's a builder is a micromanager.
Yeah.
Because it's just,
You have to
go
be
from
as a
working
builder.
yourself then
It's your
working
name on
with
the line.
big
Yeah,
teams.
yeah.
And it's your product. You want to make sure that it's done, but you need to have trust so that everything else can follow. Otherwise, you won't be able to, I guess, work on the business.
yeah, trust is a massive thing. Like that's what I tell my team. It might seem like I'm not on site as much anymore, but that is purely because I trust them 100% to do things the same or better than what I would do for them. So, like, how have you guys dealt with building, like, getting that trust?
I think it comes from having guys on the team for a long time. You've got to have. It would be hard if you were chopping and changing guys a lot, but I found having a really clear system of where they know to go and get the information. So when we use Builder Trend and everything's linked to our schedule, so the guys can see the schedule on their app. All the information's in there, all the processes are linked in there with attachments. So just them knowing where to go to get the information, I think that was the biggest hurdle for me with being able to let go. Everything was in my head that I had to say to them. I had to tell everyone how to do everything every time. When we have something, you have something written down that they can refer back to, and that's consistent from job to job. That's when they get into the rhythm or there's some continuity there from job to job. I think that was the big thing where I could see every job they were doing it better, they were asking less questions, and then I just slowly stepped back further and further.
It's a big part of the job, that early stage though. Like we do the same thing, like with OneNote, like we pump so much information into it, but then we ask the guys all the time, what else do you want in it? And then we just keep updating it all the time, putting more and more information into it to get me out of it. So all the details are drawn up. Like we'll take a detail from one job and then paste it into the next job, so it's ready to go. So they can see it. They don't have to try and find it. They go, oh no, that's what he wants because it's already drawn.
There comes a stage where you've got to let them do a bit. That you've got to give them a bit of rope because
You've got to let go.
Every time you do something for them or you do the thinking for them is one less opportunity they get to learn it and think it for themselves. They might come up with better, and they often do come up with better ways of doing things actually now, especially now that I've been off the tools for a while.
Yeah, my team, my lead chip is in particular. Well, my team and especially my supervisor. They even just like before when you turned up, Nate, like I was tied up with my supervisor. Like we've been talking through some flashings today, and he'd come up with a better solution to what we talked about. And I think that's fantastic, like encouraging that. But like, what did you say you're uploading stuff onto, Eric?
So we upload, like we use all Microsoft stuff. So we use Teams is a great one for us. So we have everything listed as files across the top of Teams, and then we have like a planner linked at the top. So we use Microsoft Planner for the jobs. And then OneNote's probably our biggest thing. Like we dump a lot of information. So all our purchase orders go in there. We have a set of plans in there. Like we have one for electrical and one for plumbing and stuff. And the guys can draw on those. So we draw all where everything is located. Like if we've got a meeting on site, we'll draw all that on there. So yeah, we just find we're trying to simplify it so there's one place for them to go and all the information's there. They can draw on their Surface Pros and stuff there on site, and it's just getting rid of the paper. Like I used to carry around, oh mate, like big folders full of stuff, and I'd just lose stuff, and nothing was filed. Like similar, that filing system was terrible. And now it's so much easier when it's all online. You can get everything.
How do you deal with, like, a bit of an issue we have is some of the team want everything, and others only want a little bit of bits and pieces because they get overwhelmed by it all. Like, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think you just at the moment we're still in the development stage with all the OneNote stuff, but we do it the same on every job, and it's just they just got to get used to it. Like we got older guys in the team and then younger guys, and the younger guys are just like, oh no, give me all this information. They love the technology, but the older guys, it's harder for them to take on, sort of thing, we find. Yeah. But we just sort of make it as easy as possible for them. So like even simple things like you were saying to us, like putting your systems, sending them the systems like a week ahead of whatever they were doing, the on-site systems. So we started doing that, and we think that sort of started working for us. So
yeah,
we found, I do still a bit of a double up. We've got it all in Buildertrend, but I still print every system. So when we start framing, we'll do a toolbox and we'll go through the whole process of framing. That stays on the whiteboard. The way we've got it set up, it's a checklist. The system's a checklist as well. So Joel and Dave, they'll check it off in Buildertrend, but the guys will check it off on site. And it's just so that they can have something to reference back to. And I've even started laminating them.
People like seeing a visual. Like a lot of our guys like seeing
I still
visual.
like having plans. Every meeting I still take a set of plans because I still like the paper.
A3.
And I don't know how, I'd probably print 10 sets of bloody plans through a job.
But the iPad, mate. You're right on the iPad.
Yeah, I should.
Don't say that too much. People might get offended.
Yeah.
But even that, like using the iPad for doing the meeting notes and stuff, so easy compared to, like I never did meeting notes back in the day, and I paid the price for that. And to be honest, we never did meetings that often.
I think with all these systems, it's got to work for you and your business. Yeah. You can one bloke could have the best set of systems, but if it's not, you're not comfortable using it, you guys aren't interested in using it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, well, same with the ones like from Elevate that we get. That like Dwayne's are different to mine. Like we had to change all ours and stuff like that.
Just to go back on what you said, Eric, like we don't get taught that stuff.
No.
Like how are you meant to know? Like you get taught how to build. You build houses. That's what you get taught how to do. Like you do your building course, you do your Cert 4, and there should be more. Like there needs to be more.
I think something I've come to realise is that there's only going to be more if you look for it.
You got to want to learn.
You've got to want to learn. You've got to get to a point in your business or your life where you're like, fuck this, like this is too hard. There's got to be a better way or something. But like, I think one of the reasons that I took so long, like I tried asking other builders for better ways, and it was just like, that's the industry, harden up, fucking deal with it. Like you go to TAFE. But like nothing against TAFE teachers, like a lot of them they're teaching you how to swing a hammer and set out walls and things. Like they're not teaching you how to run a business.
Well, when we went to TAFE, they were old school tradies teaching us.
Yeah,
they didn't know, they weren't up to sort of the cutting edge of the technology and things like. And that's another thing. Like the technologies and systems and things out there that are out there now are growing so quick. Yeah. None of this stuff was around when I started when I started the business. Yeah, anything online. Like we were still all paper then.
Still using water levels.
Like, mate.
Don't get him started.
I love a water level.
They never lie.
Mate, like everyone on site now
can't break them, can you?
A couple of $1,000 bloody lasers. Like my boss had the old FJ45 Land Cruiser rack on the back, and on each side of the back was 2 rounds of clear pipe. Like every day it was and get the water.
Never let you down, but would it?
No. But like even. We're almost finished renovating a house at the moment. I had a bit of a clean up on the weekend, and I found this old association folder that I won't name, but like it was back from when I did my builder's ticket, and it had a lot of stuff in there that like I looked through it and I was like, fuck, why didn't I take more notice of this at the time? It had a little bit of stuff about understand your overheads and finances and things, but anywhere that it mentioned margins and things, it was all 10%. And like I think to myself, like when did 10% ever make sense? Like there is things out there for our industry, but it's like the people that are teaching it and putting it together and doing it have never actually done it successfully. So all the shit that's out there is wrong.
Do you think it takes a little while for them to prepare the training? Is it nearly outdated by the time it gets put into place? I don't know. I just think it's,
Yeah, I'm not
especially in the
sure.
last few years, how quick things have progressed. That's what just blows me away. Every time I turn around, there's a new software, there's a new something to do things better. It'd be really, we've had to really focus and sort of hold ourselves back from trying all these new things and realise what we need out of our systems and our software stack and make sure we stick to it and just get good at using it.
Yeah.
I think that's worked.
I think the other one too is you got to get other people in to help you. Like I had no idea, so mine started with my sister coming into my business, and she totally changed it and set up all this back end stuff, which I'd never had, and I never learnt. Like I didn't have, like same thing. Like I didn't have the time to learn it. And until you have someone, you just go bugger it. I'll just pay someone to come in and help me with the admin stuff, and that's what turned us around. Like learning.
That was exactly the same as us when my old man jumped on board. Even Alex, so my wife jumped on board. After my first daughter was born, she had mat leave for 12 months, and then she decided she was going to work with us, which is a decision in itself, a bit similar to your story, Dwayne. It's a massive change for them. But then her going from an organisation that was so structured to then coming into me by myself and all the guys on site doing all this stuff, and it's all in my head. It wasn't working. So we had to do something so that everyone was on the same page. Because it's just you need more.
Yeah, but look, we've talked about a lot. You can't do it all on your own, and you've got to get people in to help you, and it can be I think that's probably one of the biggest contributors to people getting in the situation where they're running a terrible business and struggling, because they just don't know the numbers. And so they're just constantly trying to keep the wheels turning. They're lowering their price to win jobs. And I think the perception of our industry when it comes to what it takes to run a business is just worlds apart from where it needs to be. Like you think of any other business, retail, bloody hospitality, like anything, the margins they have on things are enormous. And I don't know, I feel like people think because builders build houses and then they just look at the thing that's getting built on the site, they just completely have no understanding of what it's taken behind the scenes to keep the wheels turning.
But that's what they need to teach how to work out your overheads and stuff like that at TAFE or at the builders course and stuff. They didn't teach any of that stuff.
I reckon I was even naive to what. Well, I know it was to what was required behind the scenes. The building bit was easy, and that always is the easiest bit for us. But yeah, I did not know what I was getting into. And then when you are committed and you generally and like these margins that we got taught that we should have been charging, as soon as you do a job like that, you're chasing your tail from then on. And while you're in the thick of it and you're generally on the tools in them stages, you haven't got the time to learn anything else or build on anything in the back end. You're already committed. And I've said it a few times. You'd be more successful as a businessman because we could employ carpenters and lead hand supervisors to run the site stuff. You knew the business stuff. I think we'd be more successful and we wouldn't have that treadmill at the start.
But sometimes I think the guys have to go, you just got to realise you're going to go backwards for a year or so while you employ someone else to help you. Like that's what happened with us. So we went backwards and then now we've gone a long way forward now by just changing things, and that's totally helped us. And
you've got to take, at some point in time, you've got to make a decision to, take a step backwards, and that 9 times out of 10, that's with what you're earning. Like this, I think I've talked about before, like this podcast wouldn't happen if I didn't take a pay cut so that I could employ Shay to work in our business. Like you've got to make a decision long term. But I don't know, whether it's an ego thing. Like you see so many builders and tradies all driving around with the new dual cabs and the jet skis and the tinnies and whatever it may be, or a ute load or a trail load. Like it blows my mind now how many chippies and builders are driving around with $20,000 and $30,000 building trailers. Like sometimes you need to make a decision. Like
image,
spend
it's
10
an image thing. They want to look good.
Hold off on the new trailer or the new dual cab or the new tools and fucking invest money in yourself.
Yeah,
I can't talk.
They want the short-term gains. They want it quickly. They don't want to wait.
And I did that for years. So. I think that's where I really, and you guys are probably the same. I actually think that's where we really power forward now, because I would rather cut something back, live lighter for 12 months, knowing that after that 12 months of spending money somewhere else and implementing it, we'll be 5 steps ahead.
But your life will be easier too. I look on the end more for ease and comfort in our lifestyle instead of the money isn't. I've lived on however many years of 50, 60 grand when I started the business. Like for years I was paying our carpenters more than I ever got. And So the money side of it's not a big issue for me. I really want that. I want to not be under stress 24/7. I want to feel organised. I feel in control, and that's something that like Live Life Build. Since we joined Live Life Build, is something that once you understand how you need to run your business, the confidence and the stress that comes off your shoulders, massive. It's life changing.
You definitely need to invest the money. And as I said, like, it's not a sales pitch to you guys because I was in the worst financial position ever. But since investing money and energy into myself, everything else around has become better. And if you had told me that, I wish someone had told me that 9 years ago, because I would have saved a shitload of stress, a shitload of money, and a shitload of lack of sleep and damaged relationships. So.
But you would have heard it. Like, I know I heard it for years.
Maybe I was just blocking it out. I don't know. I just feel like I was just blinkers on.
Something happens where something clicks and this stuff sinks in. Like there's I think most people have this moment, or whether it's like a lot of us hit rock bottom, and I think there's something that says no, like you've got to take control of it. Then once you made that commitment, I think a lot of that information sinks in, and you got to get a bit of momentum with it. Like you've got to have the little wins. It's
bad that it has to get to that point, but because that was the same as me.
Yeah,
I had to get to rock bottom to realise that I needed to change. Like, why does it need to be like that?
I think, like, as much as I hate Instagram, like, it's just a constant scroll to find something that you like, but like, Instagram has so much power to it. Like, you look at all the motivational stuff on there, like, and I guess it's no different to what we're talking about. Like, if you actually focus on the good stuff, it's there. Yeah, and a lot of it, there's actually a lot that's free. Like,
well, one good thing with that is if Instagram, for an example, if you get rid of all the shit that's not relevant,
it's not serving
and it's only, like, so on our feed, I'm purely following builders, motivational people, and then
dirt bikes.
No, that's not my personal, because it was taking me away from work. So like on our work side, it's purely things that are going to implement and influence our work.
Yeah.
So everything, and the algorithm will then generate more that will help you. So you've got to get rid of all this shit.
Yeah.
The videos that just waste your time. People just think, look at this is funny. But it's like, it's taking you away from something that's potentially good. So you shouldn't be following that shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Everyone says we've got no time.
Yeah, stop watching videos.
I've put this challenge out all the time. I think everyone needs to look at the screen time on their phone and do a review. Do it for 4 weeks in a row and add up the hours that you spent on social media, and then come back and tell me you got no time. Or show me those hours. Because if people are saying they're not on Instagram or on some sort of social media, YouTube or whatever, for an hour or two, probably a day, they're talking shit, I reckon.
An hour a day is all you need to change your whole life, I reckon.
You've got to be looking at the right stuff.
I mean, like if you spend that time wisely, whether it's exercising or I love journaling. I'll spend a half hour, an hour journaling, especially on the weekend when I'm not having to go to work and stuff. But you spend that time wisely, and it can change your whole life.
Yeah, and doing it in the morning, I think we didn't get to you on that before, Eric, but I'm the same as these two guys. Like the morning, get up 4:35, and that 1 hour of just knowing that the world's not really started yet, and that I can smash through shit.
Yeah.
That's when it happens.
I do my journaling at night, usually before bed, so I'm the other way around. But
I do the journaling at night, but
I'm the same. I do journaling at night.
The exercise or the working on the business or listening to something like that. It's always generally early morning.
Yeah, even the breath work and that sort of stuff in the morning's great.
Yeah.
So,
Everyone else is asleep, so they can't annoy you.
I think it's a massive one-up, on everyone. I love getting up early. I was going back, I was talking to a trader today, and I had to refer back to an email I sent, and I looked back and said, it was on Monday at, it was at like 10 to 4. And I said, I usually set I delay the sends on them at that time, and I must have just forgot. But I think them mornings, I'm fresh. No one's hassling. Your phone doesn't ring. That's right. The world isn't really happening yet.
Your brain is actually most active in the morning too.
By the time you get to the afternoon, so much has gone on.
Yeah. I think that's one of my biggest struggles now. Like I keep telling myself, I can't control when I wake up. Like I'm an early riser, so as soon as something's chirping or making a noise or something, I'm awake. So it's probably my biggest struggle. Like I need to get to bed earlier so that whenever I wake up, I'm up and then I'm fresh and doing my thing.
Buy a recliner, mate. I bought a recliner, and as soon as I hit it, when I got my hip replaced, and Man, that's the thing. I'll be in that at 6:30 out.
That's funny. It's funny you say that. I
love
think
it.
you were talking about that. Sorry, when we're at Kingscliff, because the house that we just built, they had a recliner in there, and when we stripped all the old walls down, there was this nice recliner there. It didn't even look that old. And I asked the client, I said, "What are you doing with that?" She's like, "Oh, we're just going to throw it in the council cleaner." I said, "Oh, no, you're not." So I threw it on the back of the truck and took it to the factory. We've got it there, and whenever anyone's there, they sit in it. They call it the director's chair, and so that's in our factory downstairs. And it's funny, when my daughter's there too, that's her chair. No one else can sit in it. So I've got my 3-year-old that overrules everyone.
Yeah.
But so comfy.
Honest, yeah. Took me years to get one in the house. My wife wouldn't let me have one. Big ugly thing in the
when
in
I'll
the house.
have
But
one, I'll have
when
to.
the surgeon said you got to get one for your recovery, that was me chance.
So I need to get a hip replacement, do I?
it's a big string to go to, but it's worth it.
So let's move on a bit. Like, I wouldn't mind talking about what's something that you feel our industry or associations could do to make a big difference. Well, maybe not even to builders, but to homeowners or whatever. Like, what's one thing you think could?
Accountability to the people they like, I think, is the biggest.
Yeah. So what do you mean?
I think holding trades and builders accountable to the standards that they should be working to. There's rules and there's plenty of regulation out there, but there's very little overriding bodies. And I think it comes down to a bit of the problems this private certification thing. I think that builders can sometimes be, and other trades can get away with a lot. I reckon that would nearly fix 90% of the problems with the quality of building. Accountability.
How do we fix that? But
I'm not.
I think they've got to do
paid
checks.
high enough.
Like, there needs to be, like, it has to be the customer or whatever pays for an external person to come in and do inspections at certain points of the job. And actually they sign up. If it's not right, then it's got to be fixed.
One of our leading hands from New Zealand, he's only been here a couple of years, but they have about 15 to 20 council inspections per job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it needs to go back. It needs to be, I don't even know if it's possible, but the private certification thing, it needs to be in my opinion, the council need to take that back on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be. I agree.
Government bodies would need to overhaul it. And
I'm not sure how they go about it. They haven't got the manpower to do what they're meant
But
to do.
even if it's independent, there's an independent, like the certified does it. And they come in, they just have to know all the rules. Like, you see these guys on Instagram and that doing videos of these project homes where they're just not even to...
The problem
Like,
is with
it's
the private
that bad.
certification thing is they're running a business. They're running a business too that's got to be profitable as well. That's the problem, I think, because they've got to just look, if they're running the business, and we all know how you got to run a business to make a profit, they've got to get a lot of jobs through. I don't think there's the room for the quality control. Like, it's probably, I don't mean to shoot any of them in the foot or anything like that, because our certified that we work with is thorough as, and he's always riding us, but that just makes us build better and makes us more accountable for what we need to do.
I do think you'll just end up with the same situation where there's big players that are like paying lots of money and they don't want to stir the boat. So I don't know, but
I think the code needs to change more than what it has. That would
the building code definitely needs to change.
that would help.
But
right?
even if we just got things, even if we got 99% of things built to that code, we'd be worlds ahead.
Yeah. Even though the building code is shit, if people actually built to it, I do a thing on ABC radio every now and then, and anyway, long story through some videos I did on socials and stuff, association and stuff's doing a bit of investigation, whatever, but we won't go into it. But after that, I got to work on Monday, and one of my boys said to me, there was someone that he knows, or a family or someone had heard it, and then they'd said to him, like, 100%, Dwayne's 100%, like you just said, like, there's no accountability. So this person, friend, family member, whatever it was, has had a house built, and there's all these defects, and the builder's basically not even turning up anymore, or he's passed on the contact details for the tradies. And I can't remember the story exactly, but there was some issues with the brickwork, and the brickies turned up to this home and basically said to this person, fucking, like, what are you going to do about it? Like, I'm not fixing that. Like, go for your life. Dob me in. Like, I don't have to fix it.
Well, they know there's not going to be any ramifications from it.
Yeah.
It's just it's a toothless tiger. I'm not sure if I'm even probably well educated enough to comment, but in my opinion, it's accountability. If we could get everyone up to even just the bare minimum standard of the building code, we'd be laughing.
Well, how about they do like you have to do, is it those...
CPD, compulsory, gone blank, compulsory extra learning or some shit.
Yeah, why don't they
It is
bring all
set up
that
in
back
Tasmania.
in?
Tasmania,
And
they've
you
got to
have
do
to
that.
do so many. So it
We have
forces
to do that
builders
in New
and
South Wales.
trades to do the same,
But
have to go and do it.
there's no accountability for it. So you have to have your points, but there's no one that checks
Does
on
your
it.
license get suspended if you don't?
Well,
I-
no
I-
one checks it.
I actually think that is the answer to it. And I think Queensland's trying to do something with it at the moment. Master builders are doing something, but it's not going to be, I'm not sure the full ins and outs of it. But I think that's the answer. Like, I think every builder needs to do, I don't know, let's say it's 100 points and, I don't know, just for easy math, let's say it's 90 points and like, this is my view anyway, like 30 points should be business and like running your show, 30 points should be quality and understanding, like
Building
it
code.
needs to be broken up.
Yeah.
Like it can't just be 90 points.
On materials or new materials?
Yeah,
or
because
things like
people
that.
are just going to go to these seminars
But yeah,
they put on where they
that's
get
where
a
the
stamp.
system's
And,
flawed,
Yeah,
even in
yeah.
New
No,
South
but
Wales.
it needs to be a
because-
test though as well.
Yeah.
You'd think like that they're tested on it. It's like if you just have to go back to school and do it. Like
Yeah.
don't doctors and stuff have to do all this stuff too.
But that's the thing. Like accountants have to do to keep their license. They've got to keep updating their financial education. Like doctors, nurses, like builders can get a license and run a business for 40 years and never have to do anything.
Yeah.
Or and tradies. Like it's pretty shit.
I think the tradies have to do it as well, not just the builders.
Yeah.
They need to be
Yes.
accountable.
Yeah,
You know?
they have to go and do
anyone that's
their
licensed.
own
Yeah.
section of it.
But that's the thing. Like we're all licensed.
Yeah.
Like everybody is paying a license fee and has some sort of association or body licensing us. So
But where does that money go? It doesn't. We don't. I don't see them do anything for us. We just pay the money and
yeah. Well, mate, go back and listen to that ABC radio interview. Not with me. After my interview, they got they got such and such on there, and they were talking some dollars, and they got massive dollars sitting in their bank account. I know what they're using it for, but that money should be like, to me, that's not a hard thing. Like if every licensing body scheduled out through the year, like once a month there was some sort of educational thing on, and like I don't know, it could be as simple as if you turn up, you get 2 points. If you complete a questionnaire or an email, like they could send you an email.
And do it
Test after the event or at the event or whatever. Like it doesn't. Like I don't know. It doesn't have to be that hard, but there's got to be something to hold
It's
people
raised
accountable.
the standards,
But
isn't
even-
it? It's got to raise the
But
standards.
even like with the NCC, why can't they do videos on every part of that and explain it? Like instead of having just, because I find it hard to find
It's
the
so open
information.
to interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah, and it changes all the time. Like you're trying to read, and it's like, well, no, but I can't do that. I've got to do that. But then my thing doesn't even comply with any of it, and it just gets, you get lost in this thing, and then you end up doing. You're like, well, I overdid it. I didn't even have to do that in the end. So it's
But even with that, like a lot of that is completely based on a volume build.
yeah.
Like there's so much stuff in there that, like to try and make suit a custom build, like you literally have to rewrite the rule book. Like
Deemed to satisfy stuff.
yeah.
Definitely.
All right, guys. So we'll move on a little bit. Eric, you just brought up a good topic. So I wouldn't mind getting your opinions on like the building industry moving forward when it comes to healthier homes, more high performance homes. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm definitely keen on it. I don't know too much about the passive house stuff, but I'm definitely keen on all the changes coming through the NCC and that. And I'm big on the low VOC stuff, just the keeping the off gassing and stuff, and having a healthy home and getting rid of all those chemicals and stuff, which is pretty big for us. So we try and find as many products as we can, but it's easier nowadays than 10 years ago. It was a nightmare to find products.
Because
So-
it's in everything, isn't it? Like a lot of
the
the
formaldehydes,
the
and stuff.
joinery products, all the
Yeah.
glues, like
Yeah.
it's pretty substantial. But it isn't hard to find stuff that's healthy.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better
It was
now.
interesting when Matthias was talking about yellow tongue and how in Germany it's banned.
Yeah.
Not many people would know that, but there's so many chemicals in it that they ban using it because it's arsenic.
Yeah.
And it's bad for your health.
Well, we've got a podcast. Actually, it'll be out by the time this one's out. But we did a podcast with Zara Dakota, and she's all about the healthy home. She's actually got a really good online course, and some of the stuff she was talking about, mate, was unbelievable. Like the
Yeah.
shit that, the quality, air qualities, and the chemicals in lots of products, carpets and shit. Like
Yeah.
you're literally sleeping on top of carpet that's giving you all this shit.
We went to the Passive House conference in Sydney, which was maybe 2-3 months ago. A few of the guys from Live Life Build went there. And for us, we want to learn more about it. We want to educate ourselves. We know that there is a market for it because we've had clients that have, openly discussed about it. And I've been open with them to say that we aren't educated enough yet, but we are on that journey. So I'm currently booked in to do Passive House Tradesman course through APA, which was actually meant to start a few weeks ago, but they delayed it. So I think it's going to be starting in 2 to 3 weeks. But once we do that, just getting a better understanding of building science and healthier homes. But at the actual conference, it was really interesting to see, like designers and builders and consultants from across the board and the actual industry. And it's definitely growing. There's definitely movement there.
Yeah, we've actually got a really, really good podcast coming up. Again, just through someone that I've reached out to on social media, David from EcoWise Homes.
Yeah.
Not sure if you guys follow him, but I did my Passive House course last year, and like I'm still sitting on the fence with it. I think it's a great idea. To me, a lot of the products that get used to create passive homes are just terrible for the environment. There's lots of PVCs and plastics and things, and I don't know, like everyone's going to have their different views, but I'm really interested in the healthy home side of things. And like talking to David about it, him and his architect, I think he's down in Victoria somewhere, but they've actually come up.
Anthony, Outlier Studios.
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah. So he's coming up.
I met him at the conference. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, awesome. So he's coming up. We're going to do a podcast with him and David, but they've done a lot of research from products out of the States, and they've actually created passive homes by a method just using plasterboard.
Yeah, Anthony's got his own podcast.
Yeah.
So I literally started listening to it a few days ago. It's worth a listen.
Yeah. So
but he's really knowledgeable. He knows his stuff. So
I think it's one of those things like there is all these fads and things that come and go, but you've got to really put in a bit of time and effort and educate yourself so you can make your own decisions. But yeah, we're really trying to cut back in our jobs with like materials, plywoods, any types of products that emit bloody chemical gases and things, and really trying to cut back on the PVCs and stuff. Like, can't remember off the top of my head, but we've actually said to our plumber now, like, we only want you using this type of pipe work because it's 100% recyclable. Like, so I think there's a lot of things we can do as builders. I think we have to. Like, I think we have a responsibility to do more to be healthy.
Yeah, it's something that I've wrestled with for a while too, but the type of homes we work on, predominantly being Queenslanders, there probably couldn't be a less passive type of construction. Like, they're designed to breathe and be up off the ground and all this sort of this thing. It sort of a lot of the passive house stuff, and I haven't done the course yet, so I'm not by far definitely not an expert in it. I think getting them homes to a passive level is next to impossible. And then the other thing I sort of wrestle with is to get all them practices into our business and do that in a profitable way too. I think that's going to be such a process for us because we have a lot of processes set in the way that we build now. Once we start introducing all these new products, there'll be no doubt the cost increases to build like that.
But I think it's as simple, it's small steps though. Like, that's what we've been doing. It's just doing little bits, like even the building wrap thing. Like, we're slowly starting to change that, and get onto a better building wrap and just do little things at a time. I think you can't do it all at once.
And I don't think it's even going to the full passive house. Like, for me, honestly, like, I don't know, people might shoot me for this, but I don't. Well, not in our. I don't know, not in our climate anyway. But everything I'm doing, I don't think passive house is the answer. Like, I was actually having a talk about this the other day with my supervisor and one of my lead chippies, and my supervisor made a really good point. He's like, we're quite often we're creating the problem. Like, by all the materials and the way that we start to build causes more problems. And like he said, like the Queen, like, you go back to an old Queenslander, like, yes, there's improvements they need to have to them, but like, they were designed great ventilation, big verandas, big soffites, lots of shade.
Yep. Probably a lot of the passive design some of the passive design elements, I'd imagine, the natural shading and cooling and things of design.
I think it's I think the answer is a combination. I think, like, and depending on the climate you're in and where you're building, like, it's got so much to do with orientation. And like, I'm a firm believer now in design is everything. Like, a couple of the architects we're working with are really, really good, teaching me a lot about this stuff. Like, it's orientation, it's shading, it's natural airflow and ventilation and circulation and those types of things.
You can build the same house and turn it 180 degrees and it's half as effective.
Yeah,
that's something that I think and not to have another dig at the project home style stuff, but they'll build any house house on any place in any direction, no matter what. There's no thought put into that.
I think the passive or the healthy home for me, that's sort of the direction we want to go. Like just being more sensible with the materials we use, reducing our waste.
I think it's being aware.
Yeah.
Like passive house is it's an association, so you don't have to. And that's where at the conference there was a few people that kind of butted heads a little bit, and I'll have to tread carefully because there's guys that build healthy homes because we still have to be considerate of people's budget. But passive house is a standard. You know, it costs X amount to get it certified, which is not. It's realistically only a certification. You can still build a really high performing home. You know in a cool climate.
I think that's a better way to call it, a high performance home. Home. I think that's a better way to
Well, that's what it is.
conceptualise
It's about being aware of what materials you are using and that lower the embodied energy and the carbon footprint. That's what a lot of the principles are based around. So there's different industry bodies. And when you talk to Anthony about it, I had a good chat with him because we went out for dinner that night. I stayed up in Sydney with Dean, and he was saying that you don't have to build passive house. Like a lot of designers that are in that field like it because it's the holy grail, but you can still build a healthy house to a high performing standard if you have the principles considered from the start.
But it's almost like I said, like we're creating the issue because it's like, so a lot of the stuff they talk about is about reducing energy usage and all these types of things. But I even think back to the house we were building when I was apprentice. Like you had one like bunker light in a bedroom. Like there was 2 lights in the
probably one bathroom back in a lot of small houses.
So
we grew up in a one bathroom.
And these are I don't know, I like stirring things up, and I believe these are the things people aren't talking about. Like, and we touched on it before. Like I'm going smaller is better. Like we're really keen to change all our marketing and really hit that more sustainable, lower energy usage. Or better thought out, better products, all those types of things. But like you think about the houses we're building, like every bedroom's 4 downlights and a ceiling fan most of the time.
A lot of them are 100 downlights in these houses.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow. The owners don't even realise. Until you show them, you're like, there's 100 downlights in this house.
So this is the thing. So everyone talks about all this stuff we can do. What about actually having to think about, how about cutting back your wants?
Simplicity.
Yeah. Like really, that's the answer.
Well, there's so many wasted spaces in homes. Like some of the architects we've worked with, they're so good on just making every spot work. Like there's no wasted space. Everything has a use, like every part of the room. But you got to pay for that. But people aren't willing to pay a designer for that. Some of the time, let's go, oh no, we'll just pay a drafty to draw something up. But you get what you pay for.
Yeah, everyone wants a bedroom with the 4 downlights, the ceiling fan, the 2 double power points each side of the bed, the USB chargers for the phones, like the ensuite that then has IXL, 2 more downlights, an exhaust fan, 2 more double power points, another USB because they want to charge it to phone while they're sitting on the shit.
We haven't had that request yet.
Charge the razors, the electric shavers, and that's what.
But like that,
in the bathrooms. But
do you guys think about that sort of stuff?
I think footprints as Australians, like everyone wants, this big house, and go around and look at some of the subdivisions. You know, they're on 500 square blocks, and it's probably got 400 squares of house. It's this, and in Anthony's podcast, and again I'm referencing it back to him. It's between Australia and America that have some of the biggest size homes in the whole country. And on his podcast, there's a lady that's from Germany, and she said when she came out to Australia, she felt like she'd been living in shoeboxes a whole lot because that's how their homes are designed. But they don't use energy because they're small.
Mate, there is so much awesome stuff on YouTube. I get sucked into YouTube with a lot of the stuff from Germany and Europe and all those types of things.
They're miles away, ahead of us. And even as close as New Zealand, I think the way they build over there is just miles ahead. We've been, since Joel's come on board, when he really struggled at the start because he's been used to building to this standard that really does trump the way we build here. And he's like, well, why can't we do it? At least we haven't it's not priced into our jobs yet.
That's
so
what
we've been
Matthias
adding
says as well.
Yeah, we've been adding these little things every job, and he's having a lot more input on my estimate, how I estimate, and how the things we allow for. And like he touched on wraps before, that's something that on this last job we put a heap of work in, a heap of effort into taping and making sure. And I'm going to do a lot of videos on it because I think that's probably one of the most important parts of making a house perform as well. But being able to just raise, you can raise your own standards. Like we don't need to, we don't need it to be a certification or anything. Like you just try and every house you build is better than the one before.
Yeah.
You just got to be willing to
No-brainer.
do that. A lot of guys aren't. They just go, oh no, I've just got to do it as cheap as I can to win that job.
that's
The
right.
guys that
And then
are,
go to the next job. It's like, well, if you don't do it that way, if you try and just concentrate on just getting good clients, and
it all
everything like
circles
that.
back to not running a good business, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're running a good business and you know you've got your overheads, you know your structure, you know you planned ahead. So when you're planning jobs, because we're often pricing now 12, 18 months in advance, you need to be planned ahead. You need your overhead structure to suit where you're going to be at that stage. And the guys that can't go that extra mile, or they can't, or maybe they're not even tracking their jobs well enough to know if they can afford to do it. That's where the downfall is, I think. It all comes back to education. Yeah.
Sit on the end of your bed and have a talk to yourself.
Well, guys, look, we'll wrap it up. I really appreciate your time this afternoon coming into the shed and having a chat. And I do honestly feel that as builders, we have got an important role to play with taking some responsibility and educating ourselves and offering our clients quality products. So, I think you guys are giving lots of value this afternoon. So for everyone that's listening, if you love what you're hearing, like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Check these guys out on their socials. Brett from Saltash, Nathan from Newfound Building Solutions, and Eric from VL Constructions. They're all doing great things. So look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Are you ready to build smarter, live better, and enjoy life? Then head over to livelikebuild.com/elevate to get started.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Dwayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.